Hello gamers and welcome back. I'm Rob, of course, or Warjack if you want to call me by my in-game name. And thanks to your guys' feedback, this video is actually sprung up. I didn't actually plan to do a top 5, which cards I will like to see rotate and which cards I'll miss when the rotation happens in regards to Old Gods, Karazhan, and Mean Streets. So this is going to be our top 5 list of cards that I'm going to be happy that rotates from Old Gods, and then we'll go over the top 5 cards I'm sad to see rotate, and then we'll kind of sum up with all the cards that are actually leaving, and then some of the more important decks that those cards belong to. But first, we'll start off with the most important stuff, and that's the top 5 cards we are excited to see go. The first card is going to be Fandral, which is actually, here, let's just pull up all of the Old Gods cards. I believe it's on the first page. There she blows. The first guy I'm actually excited to see rotate out is Fandral, and the reason being is cards that you're able to play in the early game. So let's say you start off with a Fandral. You used to be able to like innervate Fandral and then innervate Nourish, or innervate Coin Nourish, and that was just like you'd lose the game on the spot. But now it's not so much because Druid isn't as popular, but Fandral is still one of those cards where if they play it in the early game and you're not able to kill it, and then they just follow up with a Nourish or a Wrath to clear your board, it just kind of spirals out of control, especially the Fandral Nourish combo. So as cool as his ability is, the ability to lose the game just because you couldn't kill one minion, in my opinion, I don't like that kind of gameplay. Very similar to Flappy Bird and very similar to Barnes. Your opponent plays Barnes on 4, you can't deal with it pulling Rage, your opponent wins the game. So it's not on the same level as Barnes, but it's one of those cards that, like, when it rotates, I'm not going to be like, people playing Fandral against me versus me playing Fandral. I'm just happy that it's really not there anymore and they can't high roll the shit out of me in the early game because I couldn't kill one minion on the board. So that's the first guy that I would like to talk about. The second one is, I think, a card everybody can relate to, and that's going to be Tome. So as interesting as this card was, you know, it was a 5 mana, generate 3 cards, very value oriented. We liked playing the card and getting crazy stuff from it, but at the same time, let's say you're playing against it. You have to look at these cards playing with it and playing against it. And I hated playing against this card, not only because people were playing it in their Quest Mage, and of course Quest Mage is a very annoying deck to play against. You'd play against a mage that used Primordial Glyph, discovers a random spell. They get Tome. Then Tome discovers 3 random spells, and those 3 random spells happens to be another Tome or another Primordial Glyph, which gives them another random. It's just too much random, and you just can't account for all of the random cards that they're getting, so you don't know what to play around, and you end up playing directly into something, or you're playing around it so hard that you end up losing the game. So just random is good up until a certain point, and this card, in my opinion, was too much for me, especially when playing against it. I mean, I hated playing against somebody who tomed into Tome into Tome, or tomed into, like, Polymorph, Fireball, Pyroblast, because you just can't play around that kind of stuff. So there's definitely a difference in between, like, you know, discovering one random spell or discovering one random spell versus just adding 3 to your hand and being like, whoa, looks like I got another Tome, whoop-de-fucking-do. The next card I'm super excited that's leaving is Rallying Blade. I hate this card with a dying passion. Paladin already has a ton of powerful cards, and there's nothing that feels worse than the Paladin dropping 2 minions or 3 minions on turn 1 or 2, and they both have Divine Shield. You don't have a early game. They drop a Rallying Blade. Not only is it a 3 mana 3/2 weapon, but it's also going to give those minions +1/+1. I am just... Whether you agree with the Rallying Blade or not, I know there's a lot of Paladin players out there that are like, Rob, I love Rallying Blade. As somebody who plays against aggro Paladin much more than I play aggro Paladin. I don't think I've ever played aggro Paladin more than like 1 or 2 games. It's just, I hate seeing this card on 3 because it always kills my Doomsayer and I'm always salty. So I'm actually if this was just a weapon with no buff, it would have been horrible because then it'd be Fiery War Axe. And then I wouldn't be reviewing it, but the whole give your Divine Shield minions +1/+1, it's so good with the new Dude Paladin deck out. It wasn't as good with the Murlocs because you'd have to like Gentle Megasaur into Divine Shield and then play Rallying Blade, which is 7 mana. But most of the time they're just playing Rallying Blade on curve into minions and then buffing them. So it's just, whether it be Argent Squire or Righteous Protector, it's just really annoying card to deal with. And yeah, I'm happy to see this card go. Again, you may not exactly agree with me, but it's one of the cards that I'm going to be looking forward to not having to deal with anymore on turn 3. The next card we're going to go over, Evolve. Again, standing by what I said about a bunch of random shit happening, this card is literally it is designed to be just a bunch of random shit happening. It transforms all the minions into minions that cost 1 more. So as we know, Doppelgangster Evolve and Shaman has, I mean, it used to be a really, really powerful deck, which says something. The whole deck revolved around making minions you have into random stronger minions. So sometimes you could get bullshit, sometimes it goes absolutely nuts and you end up high rolling the crap out of your opponent. It's all, sometimes you win because of this card, not because you played better, just because you played the card and got better result than some other games where you got bad results. So I mean, as fun as this card is in a nutshell, you know, makes great highlights, fun card to play, and you know, we'll get you some nice cheesy wins as a competitive, in a competitive sense, you know, going on ladder and playing against people who may have, you know, made a bunch of mistakes in the game, but they win because they just got lucky when they played their Evolve, feels really, really, really bad. So not to say they shouldn't print cards like this in a future, it's just I'm excited to see this card leave because I've been wrecked by it one too many times, and I don't play it at all, really, in any of my decks, so I'm not blinking when it leaves. I'm just like, hey, Lamau. The next card we're going to talk about is a card that we actually don't see at all anymore, but a card that we used to see so much, and it used to be one scary dude. So many memes about this guy, so much salt about this guy, and Shaman for a long time was low costing, overstated minions with the word overload on it. So before the 4 mana 7/7, if you have coin 3 mana 7/7, a lot of decks, especially decks like Warlock, Can't, and the old Rogue, without, you know, before they had Vilespine Slayer, didn't have the ability to deal with this card. They'd have to like sap it, which was kind of their only answer. Siphon Soul was kind of the only Warlock answer for this card. So as much, it's not really seen now anymore, but it's still a card that, if the meta shifts slightly in a direction, we actually could see some form of faceless, the faceless again, and some sort of like tempo Shaman. Not really sure where Shaman's going this expansion. We haven't seen any cards for it yet, but if they end up making, you know, the sort of tempo Shaman we saw before, which was called mid-range Shaman, the you know, the thing from Blows, the facelesses, the Thunderbluff Valiants, the Bloodlust, the Tunnel Trog Rock Bull Hunter, or no, Tunnel Trog Rock Bull, the Tunnel Trog Totem Golem. I mean, it was just wave after wave of huge minions, and this was part of the problem, but just because it's so hard to deal with. So due to the next rotation, not sure where Shaman is going. This guy leaving, I mean, it's just a vanilla giant minion. You can't deal with it. You lose the game. It kills you in 3 turns if it basically goes face. I mean, that's just an astronomical amount of damage for that low cost of that 4 mana. So again, these are kind of my top picks, guys. You definitely can disagree with me, but those are kind of the ones that when I was reviewing the set, I was not really that sad to see them go. Now we're gonna go over cards that I am sad to see go, and I wonder if any of you guys can actually guess some of these cards, because when I was reviewing it, I kind of broke it down, and I was surprised by myself when I was like, you know what, I'm actually gonna miss this card. And the first card is a priest card, Shadow Word Horror. 4 mana, destroy all minions with 2 less attack. Rob, why are you sad to see this particular card go? It's because there's nothing more satisfying than playing a control deck, Control Priest, and being able to annihilate your opponent's board because they're playing aggro. So this card clearly is a card used in combination with Pine-Sized Potion to be able to clear board with minions that are 5 or higher, or if your opponent is playing something like a Hunter or a Dude Paladin deck, or maybe a Zoo deck, most of their minions have between 1 and 3 attack, most of the time between 1 and 2, and being able to pay 4 mana to destroy 3 or more minions, there's no more satisfying feeling for me. So losing out on Shadow Word Horror was a good tech against aggro, and it'll be sad to see it. And then also just the picture of the card is really cool. It's a bunch of Murlocs getting sucked into a purple hole of doom. So just a very exciting card here. And Priest is also losing Dragonfire Potion. It's on my list of cards to go over towards the end here. But yeah, this is going to be a sad one for me. I thoroughly liked Shadow Word Horde and everything it could do. The next card is a card that I'm also going to miss, Shadowcaster. It's a card that we don't play really too much. We played it in a few decks, one of being Cthulhu Rogue, the other of which we played in our Jade Rogue deck. Both of those decks will no longer exist after the rotation, only in Wild. But it's one of those cards that you are able to punish your opponent by not trading into some of the minions that they probably should have been trading into, such as like Jade Spirit, Aya, your Jade Swarmer. It just had the ability to basically make Vilespine Slayer is a great pick for this card. It just had a lot of uses and a lot of great combos that normally you'd never be able to pull off, but because you're able to copy the 1/1, it costs 1, then you can combo it with a creature that you wouldn't have been able to play the creature in the first place with because the mana cost was too high. So you could like go like cube and Aya in the same turn, and then cube the Aya, and then if you had the not Shadowcaster, but this the new 3-mana card, the 3-mana 2/2, when a card dies, get a new one, then you could get another Aya, and then it was just so many cool combos you could do, and part of that was being able to Shadowcaster. In a nutshell, I'm going to miss this card a lot. It gave Rogue, especially meme Rogue decks, a lot of versatility, not only for aggro, but the open up combos that you would never normally be able to do. The next one is actually a card that we never see ever, but I like the card a lot, and I enjoyed playing it in our control Shaman deck. Time and time again, it was a card that proved to be very useful at certain situations, and it's a card, again, control Shaman. Would like to see this card. Control Shaman isn't a thing right now, but if it was, it'd be playing this card. So it's Halaziel. I know for those of you who know what it is, but for a lot of you, you don't know what it is. A 5-mana 4/6 elemental. Stats are not bad, and it says whenever your spells deal damage, restore that much health to your hero. So you really could come back. I mean, Halaziel Volcano, you get to heal for 15, and most of the time your Halaziel will probably live. It combos with all your elementals. You've got Jade Lightning, you've got Lightning Bolt. There's tons of ways to deal damage through spells to your opponent, and being able to heal for that much is very, very useful. Granted, the card didn't see a ton of play, but it's still a card I'm going to very sad to see go, because it was just a nice control card that you're able to heal from, decent stats, combos, and synergizes with elementals. I'm going to be very, very sad to see that card go. It was actually a ton of fun playing him when he originally came out. The next card. Oh, the control warrior inside me had died. So we're losing Ravaging Ghoul, boys. So any warrior player who ever played control warrior or sort of tempo warrior understands the power of being able to damage minions on the board for 1. It's part of the warrior kind of kit. We've always loved it. We had Deathspite, Ravaging Ghoul, Whirlwind, Inner Fire. I can't think. Every time I get to this weapon, I always forget. It's the new 4-mana 2/2 weapon. Oh man, I should know the card. I just haven't played warrior in a while. But either way, the ability, the 3-mana 3/3 deal 1 damage to all other minions was so powerful. And especially like even right now with all the dude paladins running around summoning a bunch of, somebody stand against darkness for 5 mana, you play a 3-mana card, kill all those cards, have 2 mana left over, and you developed a 3/3 Lamau. So it's just very sad to see this card go. They're gonna have to print something to replace this bad boy with, because this warrior losing this is pretty big hit. The last card I'm super sad to see go is going to be our big boy, our Jimmy Longs, our tentacle monster mayhems. That's going to be the N'Zoth. Whether we were playing this guy in some control lock, whether we were playing it in Jade Rogue, or whether we were playing this card in Sindragosa Death Rattle Mage, or our Taunt Death Rattle Shaman, N'Zoth has managed to, or even Control Paladin, N'Zoth has managed to find its way in a super control late game Death Rattle heavy control deck, and it's going to be sad to see this guy go. I know right now he's a little broken with all the control warlocks running around with their void daddies and all that shit, but before that, this guy was really cool. I've been playing this guy since he's been released. He fits into so many different decks. He's a neutral card, and he's just so much value in the late game. If your deck even has 1 to 2 death rattles, anything more than that, and you're just adding more cheese on top of your already cheesy pasta, which is fantastic to begin with. So I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss him a lot. Every tentacle. I'm gonna miss every tentacle. So with that, that goes over my top 5, and top 5 I'd like that I'm happy to see rotate. Top 5 I'm not so happy to see rotate. And now we're kind of just gonna take a look at the other cards that I highlighted that are noteworthy, that are leaving, and then some of the decks that those are gonna be affected by. We've already talked about Fandral, but the next card on my list was actually a hunter card, Call of the Wild. The reason I bring this up is because they've been trying to make some hunter deck work for a while now. Face Hunter has always been a sort of hunter deck that's popped up and down in popularity. When it's popular, its win rate is crazy. When it's not popular, just nobody's playing it, and I'm sure its win rate is still actually pretty good. And then Call of the Wild, we used to see in a mid-range hunter. We might be rotating to more of a mid-range / control hunter meta soon. I'm not sure, haven't seen the new cards, but if we're looking at the hunter cards that are currently being printed, it's not really an aggro hunter anymore. It's like a secret, mid game, finish up with you Rexar in the late game. It's actually the hunter. It's moving back, and when it kills you, and it's no longer turn 4 or 5, it's turn 5 or 6 now that you die. So Call of the Wild is one of the noteworthy cards in the hunter class that is rotating. And that, you know, depending on the rotation, if we wouldn't have seen this rotate, maybe Hunter would have been really good if this would have still been around when the new set gets released. The next card we already talked about Tome. It was just part of our top 5. The Rallying Blade. The Vile Spine Inquisitor is one that is going to also be rotating. And as we know, Murloc Paladin, pretty popular. I think Dude Paladin is a little bit more popular as of now, just because it has a little bit more cock, lock, and reload than the Murloc Paladin. But the Murlocs have a huge amount of synergy, of course, with War Leader, Rockpool Hunter, Chum, and the Gentle Megasaur. But regardless, still a key card in the Murloc Paladin deck, and especially with no longer being able to turn their hero powers into Murlocs, it's greatly going to affect the number of Murloc Paladins on ladder substantially. So just keep that in mind, that they're actually losing this. Dude Paladin is actually taking a huge hit. There's another one, guys, that I was actually we lost an old Stand Against Darkness. This is one of the, I don't think I want to say one of the key cards, but it's a big card in the Dude Paladin deck, and not being able to have this card makes it more reliant on Lost in the Jungle and the not Vile Spine Slayer, but the, I want to say Vine Cleaver. Yes, Vine Cleaver is the name. So yes, no more Stand Against Darkness. Dude Paladin is taking a big hit for there. So that deck is definitely affecting it. It's interesting because the Dude Paladin is a recent deck to pop up. Once they nerfed the pirates, the pirate package left. Dude Paladin walked in, said, "Hey, how you doing? Make room at the table for me, because I'm going to turn into one of the most popular decks on ladder," which, you know, the pirate package was. It was just, I mean, people were teching in Galaka Crawlers left and right. And can you find a Galaka Crawler now on ladder? No, nobody's playing Galaka Crawler because patches got nerfed. And it's amazing, just nerfing patches, the 1-mana 1/1 affected the meta that much. For every single one of you who said patches doesn't matter, it's just a 1-mana 1/1, what's the big deal? They nerfed that guy by slightly, and no more pirates. There's none. They're gone. The only time you see pirates is King Bane, Pirate Rogue, and the only guy playing that is like me and some other like less than 1% of the players. So the next card that's rotating is Rag the Light Lord, another super powerful Paladin card found in Control Paladin. Not that Control Paladin super popular, but still a key card in the deck, being able to heal for 8 at the end of the turn, whether it's your, you know, your hero and or a minion on board. Super powerful card for the mana slot, and it could just honestly win games on its own if top deck. So Control Paladin is losing a little bit. Here's another card that the Dude Paladin is missing. I don't know how good Dude Paladin is going to be after this next rotation, because they are losing a lot of key cards, and that's going to be the Steward of Darkshire, in combination with Stand Against Darkness, or you're Lost in the Jungle, or you're just playing, you know, Call to Arms, whatever the case may be. Steward of Darkshire gives those minions Divine Shield, and like we've been over, Rallying Blade buffs those cards with Divine Shield. So not only losing the weapon that buffs the cards that synergize with Darkshire, we're just losing the whole entire package. So this is good news for us control players. No more Steward of Darkshire into a whole bunch of Divine Shield, into Rallying Blade, into annoying little fucking creatures that you can't kill. The next card we're going to talk about is a card that you may not actually realize that was in Old Gods. That's going to be South Sea Squid Face. But Rob, what deck is this guy played in? He's played in our Kingsbane Rogue, our Kingsbane Pirate Heavy Rogue deck. And he's actually a really important card in the deck, because he not only is a 4-mana 4/4, which provides tempo and stability onto the board, he also basically has a built-in Deadly Poison. As we know, Deadly Poison is one of the best cards in the Kingsbane Rogue deck, because it allows our weapon to basically grow over time. When we play Valera, we can play 2 Deadly Poisons a turn. If we have 2 in the deck, it's basically 4. This adds 4 more. We're at 8. 8, 2, 16, starts at 1 attack. At 17, we add a Leeching Poison. We attack for 17 after the 4 buffs, twice times 2, and carry the 4, subtract the 9 off the top, and just divide by 3, and then we get Big Daddy damage. It's as simple as that. But anyway, yeah, South Sea Squid Face, a really important card to the Kingsbane Rogue deck. Very sad to see him go. Not top 5 sad, but still a card that's notable, that is being able, or is rotating out in my book. Whoo, Thing from Below. Shaman is taking some hits here. Thing from Below. costing 0 mana depending on how many times they've hero powered, and then you know, like a lot of shamans were able to like play 2 Thing from Below's, Doppelgangster, and Evolve in a single turn. They get 5 minions on the board, and they all, what is it, 3 of them cost 6 and 2 of them cost 7 because of Evolve, or they could drop 2 Thing from Below's, a hero power, and maybe an extra minion and Thrall, because a lot of time, again, Thing from Below would cost anywhere between like 0 and 2 mana. So Thing from Below is a heavy hitter to the Shaman class. Used to be really popular, not as popular anymore, but still, in my opinion, a staple in any aggressive-based Shaman deck just because of the ability to tempo him out for free. Plus, he has Taunt. I mean, he's just a good card. It's just a good card. And also keep in mind that this is the same creature that we see in, what's that show called? Stranger Things. Did you know that? This is the same motherfucking creature. I want to let you know. It may look a little bit different, but it's the same creature at heart. It wants to be, or it is, Stranger Things creature. For those of you who don't know who the Stranger Things are, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Next one we're going to talk about is the Dark Shire Councilman. Very, very good card in Zoo, in my opinion. I don't know why it was never, like, at some point in time, this card actually wasn't seen, it didn't see play in Zoo. I don't know why. The card is outstanding. It's another card where if left for 3 mana, if this card isn't killed, it's going to win the game. Very similar to Flappy Bird, Fandral. Like, cards like this need to be killed, and if it's not killed, Mana Worm, Tunnel Trog, like, just gaining 1 attack every minion you play. Most of the time in a Zoo deck, you're playing anywhere between 1 to 3 minions a turn, depending, of course, on the mana and how many cards you have in your hand, and a lot of minions, some extra minions like Serenite Chain Gang. So I mean, it's just a very powerful card, and Zoo's going to take a pretty good hit in my opinion. I mean, plus it has 5 HP. I mean, it's just a huge minion, needs to be dealt with if unchecked, wins you games. So Zoo's taking a pretty heavy hit in my opinion right there. And then the last card, actually not the last card, the second to last card is going to be the Eater of Secrets. Depending on how heavy the meta is in regards to secrets being played. So we have like Paladin. Now rogues have secrets, hunters, mages, paladins, if I didn't mention that. Paladin, rogue, hunter, mage. I think that's covering all of them. But yeah, depending on how heavy the meta is of those classes, Eater of Secrets comes and goes. I was actually teching in Eater of Secrets towards the beginning of the past expansion due to the fact that Tempo Mage was on the fucking loose. But yeah, we're going to be losing Eater of Secrets. It's going to be sad. Maybe they'll add some more secret destruction cards. I know hunters have Flare, but what do the rest of us have? We're slacking here, and I'm sure we're going to see more mage, hunter, and rogue secrets. I don't know if we'll see any paladin, maybe 1, but I'm sure we're going to see some more rogue secrets. I don't think they're just going to print 3 and then stop. They're going to print at least 2 more. In my opinion, at least 2 more. So, you know, maybe Secret Destruction will come back. Or maybe they'll just put it into a card that doesn't fucking suck. So you could actually play a tech card like a 4-mana 4/4, destroy 1 secret. I mean, the card is still good. And if it destroys a secret, it's really good. So, I mean, there's some, you know, I don't know. I just feel like they should print tech cards. Like, obviously, a 4-mana 4/4, there's better cards as in the 4-mana slot. I mean, look at Shoalwind Yeti, it's a 4-mana 4/5, but, you know, it has that effect. So it's not just like, this card's just terrible if it doesn't destroy secrets. So, which I think is really dumb. I don't think tech cards should, I don't hurt you this much for trying to tech it in. And then also, overall, I was going to type in gods, and I thought, like, all the gods would pop up. But I guess we could just go to the top 7 top mana slots. We're going to lose Cthulhu, Yogg, N'Zoth the N'Zoth the Corruptor, my bad, and Rage. We're losing all of the old gods, so, you know, Big Priest, gone, Yogg, Randomness, gone, N'Zoth, gone, Cthulhu decks, I mean, they've been gone for a while now, but now they're definitely gone. But yeah, all the old gods are leaving. Again, more notable cards. And that's basically my sum up or wrap up of all of the old gods and my top 5 of each happy to see go and not happy to see go. We're gonna, because you guys recommended it, we'll be doing this for, again, Karazhan and Mean Streets. Karazhan, really small, is not an expansion, it was just an adventure, so that one will be a really small. And then Mean Streets is going to be a big one. A lot of key cards in Mean Streets that is rotating on a lot of key decks that those cards are in, won't be in anymore. So with that, thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought. If I missed out on anything, let me know in the comment section below. These are honestly some of my favorite videos to do because I get to share what I think, my insights, and kind of like how it's going to affect things. Could be very wrong, could be very right, but I thoroughly enjoy making these kinds of videos because it allows me to explain a little bit deeper into some of this stuff than I can do in some of the videos. So with that, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. As always, I'm Robert Warshak, and happy whatever the hell day it is.